Right,
Alright.
let's hope this works. Hello, everyone! We wanted to talk about Rise of the Beasts because it's out and it's still relevant. The zeitgeist is it's still there. You already know me. You may also be familiar with the person joining me today. This is Matt of the 360verse. Say hello, Matt.
Hello, Matt.
There we go. Oh, he's on it. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Matt, because not everyone might be familiar with like who you are and your work.
So in terms of Joe's videos, I played a few roles in his Ascension series and Iron Man and that other thing like forever ago. But I mostly make my own content. But I've been on hiatus for a few years. Transformers Universe, if you've heard of it.
Yeah, I can't believe you pull out the Iron Man video as like one of the things you might be known for. So I've forgotten about that like for a long time.
Well, that's one of the reasons like why like we started talking like long before a lot of the other cast.
That is, yeah. We've been friends for over a decade. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it's got to be well over it now.
I want to say at least like I think it was 2012. Because that was when the Avengers came out, and I think I remember using the Avengers music for that animation. So yeah, we've been friends for over a decade. We swim in similar circles. Matt is the voice of Cliffjumper, and I think a couple of the characters. I think he does one other.
Definitely Rodimus as well.
Rodimus, yes, that's the other one. We have gathered ourselves to talk about Rise of the Beasts. I think we both felt a lot of hype for this film for different reasons. Matt?
I think the marketing was just dead on again. Like, it wasn't quite Revenge of the Fallen level of marketing, but it was still really good.
Yeah, and I think for you as well, obviously the big pull for you was Beast Wars.
Yeah. They ruined my G1 childhood in 2007. Now it's like, how are they going to ruin my 90s childhood?
They're specifically targeting you.
Well, because I wasn't around for the 80s, like, whenever all these people, when the 2007 came out, they've ruined my childhood. I didn't fully understand it.
Yeah.
Luckily, I don't understand it still.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. for me, I'm the same age as Beast Wars. I don't have a massive connection to it, although over on Infinisun, the Discord that Matt runs, we've been watching the series through from beginning to end. I think we're on episodes 16, 17, I think, at the moment. So I've been really enjoying the series, and it's kind of helped get me a bit more excited for the Beast element of the film. But yeah, so what we did, I think it was the 9th of June, I think. Matt and I gathered at a kind of mutual location that was kind of midway between where we live, and went to see Rise of the Beast together. Sat ourselves down in seats G1 and G2, which was completely unintentional, I promise.
Though in hindsight, I should have already taken G2 because I'm more of a G2 fan.
Yeah, but you are older than me as well. And yeah, so we'll just start off with some non-spoilery thoughts on the film as a whole, and then we'll have a little cut-off point for when we're going to talk details. I think at this point most people have watched the film. So
yeah, we want to be careful for those still on the fence, and they need that sort of encouragement to go watch it, which, to be honest, is an absolute terrible film. We were both crying with misery after it.
I actually threw myself in front of a train after it. No.
It's honestly a really good film. Like, it had its flaws, all of these films do, but it was an enjoyable watch, especially for the characterization of the Autobots. I think that was the strongest bit.
The one thing that I keep saying about Rise of the Beasts is that it's a really fun film. It's like, it has its flaws. Yeah, I'm not disparaging that. I think there's a lot of elements where it's a little, there's stuff that doesn't quite add up, stuff that doesn't make sense. Yeah, they're very flaky on what that whole past and future thing is. I kind of like to compare it to the Fast and Furious films. It's a really fun time with its flaws, but you're there for some really high octane action, and for the people who really care about it, some like nice endearing character moments. There's that whole phrase of, oh, turn your brain off and watch this film and you have a good time. But like people only use that in the context of, this film is dreadful, and if you actually told me to do that, I would feel insulted. This film is not insulting in that way. I feel like if you turned your brain off and watched it, you would still have a really good time.
Or you'd be even more confused by the Maximals.
Oh yeah, for sure. But like, you wouldn't feel like you're being insulted by the makers of it, and like it's not a cynical film. It's clearly made with a lot of love and heart, and knowledge of the franchise and Beast Wars in particular.
I also was going to say, if you're worried about Mirage and the whole looking like jazz and whatever, like, Mirage is one of the best live-action Autobot characterizations we've ever had.
He so is. I remember you and I were like laughing out loud when with a couple of jokes that he cracked, because he's just so funny, but also like very. He strikes a really good balance with like the humor and the actual like personality that it has. I feel like if the humor became slightly too overbearing, he would have been a much more irritating character throughout. But you know, he's got a cocky side. He's very sort of hot roddy.
But that's the thing. Like, whenever they announced Pete Davidson as the actor, I was a bit, this is just gonna be like, you know, like more Michael Bay humor or something, or just weird. It wouldn't fit, but. He pleasantly surprised me.
Yeah, he's got Mirage has got a strong personality to support the humor that he brings to the film. And yeah, I think for both of us, like, standout favorite character for sure.
Also, the human character Noah was surprisingly good. Like, out of the human protagonists, he's probably top 3.
I went to watch it a second time just yesterday as of recording, and I really spent a lot more time paying attention to Noah and Prime and the similarities that were being drawn to them, their respective arcs, and the arc that they had kind of like intertwined with each other. Noah is for sure like the most well-rounded human character we've had from the live-action films.
I feel like he's very similar to Cade Yeager, but done in a way that's probably a bit more palatable for a lot of people. You
know my opinions on Cade Yeager and my disbelief that you think he's a good character.
I think, so Age of Extinction, like, people complain about it, but I liked bits of it. Like, especially the Autobots reunite scene, and I think replacing Shia LaBeouf with Mark Wahlberg was a good call. Human villains were good as well, but I think this has a lot of the same elements of Age of Extinction, where you've got, like, this like ancient group of Transformers they find near the end and all that, and
yeah, and the other thing that Age of Extinction has over the other live action films is that the Autobots have personalities, albeit
like this one.
All of them are dickheads, but like there are personalities. And yeah, going on what you said about like the likable Autobot characters, like Rise of the Beasts gives the robots personalities. And they are really likable, they have good interactions with each other, they feel like they are characters in this, which is, I think, what everyone wanted from this film, for sure.
Yeah, I think the only regret, really, is I feel like some characters could have had more time to shine, and maybe bits were cut due to different things. But
yeah, having seen the list of deleted scenes that Stephen Cable Jr. talked about being cut, I think there was a lot more robot interaction that really should have been kept in to validate certain aspects of the of the film.
They might have cut them for budget, because the CGI is pretty expensive, isn't it?
It could be, yeah. I mean, speaking of the CGI, actually, like, I thought it was really solid throughout. There's
a lot of people kind of complain about it, but then I honestly don't really care if some bits look a bit ropey. I think it was good.
Yeah, I think the fact that it was actually a really solidly made film with a decent story, likable characters, kind of overrode any kind of hokey CGI bits. I mean, the only things I really noticed were there's 2 scenes with Noah. And I can talk about one of them because it was in the trailer. It's the bit where Mirage throws him his little, like, gauntlet thingy, and you see it kind of transforming on its hand. The tracking is just slightly off, and you notice it because it's more of a close-up shot. But that was really the only thing I noticed. It was like, oh, that's a little bit rough there. But on the whole, like, the CGI was really well done. The action was really clear throughout. You could follow you could follow the path of the action, the battles, all that kind of stuff, especially in the museum fight. And yeah, like it was all the like the transformation sequences as well. Absolutely glorious to witness. Absolutely lovely to watch those.
Also, like I really liked RC's design with the red. I think the red really worked well with that design.
Yeah, I think RC needs to get a bit more red in her designs. Although, you know, I love pink RC. I don't think you can very rarely go wrong with that.
Well, she's got like pink shoulders and face.
She did. It was kind of like a sort of salmony pink sort of thing. But you know, red overall, I think I think really works for her as a color scheme.
Yeah, should we move on to spoilers?
I guess so. Yeah, let's talk some little spoilery things. So let's talk about some like the characters again. Let's go into a bit more detail about like who we had, why we liked them, all that kind of stuff. And any kind of like favorite moments.
I liked how Bumblebee was sidelined for a lot of the film, and other characters were given chances to shine more.
Yeah, I
think
that
he still had his good moments.
That's exactly my thought. I think the creative team kind of realised most fans have kind of like had an abundance of Bumblebee. He just had an entire film to himself. I think he's okay.
But one issue I have is because he doesn't speak, right? Like, it just feels like that movie just... Even though it's like a sequel, it doesn't feel like a sequel because only Bumblebee knows those events and doesn't really talk about them. So it just feels so disattached.
I can see that. The only reference that they really make to Bumblebee 2018 is the scene when it's him, Prime, and RC looking over at Ellis Island, and he says, "They're my friends," and Prime says, "I know one of them was your friend, but they're all dickheads, all those humans." That's the only time that film is referenced as being part of the canon.
That's why it doesn't really feel like a true sequel. It feels more like Bumblebee was just a spin-off, which is what it should have been really anyway. So
I think people should kind of view Bumblebee as a prologue or a spin-off to
like a prequel.
to this new universe. Because Rise of the Beast is meant to be the first of a trilogy, so that doesn't include Bumblebee. But yeah, I think it would have been nice if there was maybe a little more reference to Charlie and the events there. I think there's just about enough to make the connection for those who it matters to. But in terms of Bumblebee in this film, I think they utilised him very well. You know, there's not too much of him that you feel like they're really kind of like trying to keep on marketing him as like the kid bot, as you know, the he's got his own toy line, all that kind of stuff. But he has his own fucking like action sequence just to himself, which is enough to balance it out, and it's really well done.
I know we mentioned it as well, like, I just don't see the point of keeping him mute anymore unless they are going to connect it to the 2007 movie, which they've completely made it so it can't really connect to it now.
Yeah.
So might as well just give him his voice back. Like, how great would it have been if when he comes back to life, he has his voice back, and that's like a huge twist moment.
I don't know. I've kind of come full circle back around to I don't mind the radio voice. I think it annoyed me when it was still going on in like 2014. But you know, we've got enough of B talking in other media, like Cyberverse and Earthspark, all that, where it's, you know, and also I think the other thing to keep in mind is that, you know, a lot of kids will be familiar with the films over the cartoons, even though it kind of defeats the point of cartoons. But I think that more kids will be aware of like Bumblebee in the context of those films talking with the radio, and so I think maybe that's another thing that kind of helps keep the kids drawn to it and entertained. It's like, I recognise that thing from before, and there is a lot of that in this film anyway, not just in terms of like Bumblebee talking, but kind of callbacks to
so many nods and references.
Yeah, but I think the great thing with a lot of those is that they feel earned with this.
Like whenever Noah calls Optimus Optimal, I'm like, that's a reference to Beast Wars.
Yeah, and again, it's kind of going back to like, you know, these that has to be a completely intentional like joke reference thing there. Like it, you know, comes back to the creators know their stuff with this one.
Like, it would have felt really out of place if you called him Convoy or something.
Yeah. Speaking of Optimus, this is probably the most fleshed out version of the character that we've had in kind of mainstream media. What were your thoughts on this iteration of Prime?
Obviously, I grew up on Beast Wars, so Optimus Primal, like, he was very well developed in that, but that's a whole different character. Yeah, I do think this is definitely like an Optimus that got a lot of depth, but then there's animated where he got quite a bit of depth as well.
That's true. I think the only thing with animated is that it's kind of, that one is intentionally made as a kind of younger.
He's basically
Optimus.
Orion Pax.
It's basically Orion Pax, but this is an Optimus who has been fighting a war for thousands of years. Again, coming back to Age of Extinction, almost like this is quite a jaded iteration of Prime who doesn't see the value or doesn't trust humans and is kind of questioning whether they're kind of like worth his time.
Oh, actually, the High Moon games gave Optimus quite a bit to work with.
Yeah, I guess they did a little bit. I mean, they're more kind of like action video game kind of oriented, but they did give him a fair bit to work with.
But your point is, in like recent media, Optimus has just been kind of a leader, and that's kind of all he is.
Yeah, the movies have always depicted him as very kind of like stoic, and bloodthirsty as well. Yeah.
And then Transformers Prime, he was just so stoic, he just didn't really have a personality, even though the show was named after him.
I will defend that show until the day I die.
It's a good series, but they had it had so many weaknesses.
Yeah, there's a whole other podcast episode in that. Oh god, let's not start a podcast, please. The last thing the world needs is more white men with podcasts.
Give us another pandemic then, maybe.
Yeah. No, I don't want that. Yeah, with Optimus, you know, he's got a character arc, and you kind of see how he changes his perceptions on humans throughout the film based on not just his interactions with Noah. Again, Noah, great human character, actually like doing stuff, and Elena as well, kind of doing stuff that is relevant to the plot.
I thought Elena felt a bit more of a Michael Bay era character. Like, she had some moments, but overall, like, she wasn't anywhere near as good as Noah as a character.
I still liked her. We'll
yeah, she was decent. She was a bit like Maggie from 2007 movie.
Yeah, he very clearly got a character arc influenced by the humans that he is with. Also with you know, I think such a great scene is when the Maximals take the Autobots to the camp. I think it's the
Peruvian village.
Yeah, the Peruvian village, and again, that's a really cool learning moment for Optimus to see that actually these two species can live in harmony and can be trusted. I think it's made all the more poignant by the fact that it is Optimus Primal, his, you know, how do I say, like, not namesake, but, you know, who has named himself in honour of Optimus Prime. I think that's definitely going to have a kind of big impact. It's like this person who really kind of like regards me with a lot of respect has put a lot on the line to trust and protect these humans. That's going to change a lot of perceptions about like how you see people, how you see a certain group of people.
Yeah, but then if someone names themselves after you, you might think, okay, is this guy hiding in my cupboard at night?
Yeah, if someone named themselves Joe Powell after me, I'd start to question a lot of things, like where all these cameras came from. A big thing I noticed as well, yeah, something that really helps with empathizing with Optimus throughout this film is that all of the bots have retained the much larger eyes from Bumblebee, which allows for a lot more expressiveness and a lot, you know, not just a lot more expressiveness, but also much more obvious expressive from some distance away.
I think that was especially noticeable of RC.
Yes, RC. Wheeljack with his big old goggles. But Optimus especially, like, you know, there's the scene where he's by the river, and he's trying to like get Noah to like not destroy the transwarp key, and you really see in his eyes just like how much this really means to him. And we never ever had anything like that with the first batch of movies, because their eyes are so tiny, and they're also like covered by these little like shards of metal, which I think are like eyelids kind of equivalents.
I did like how Noah immediately was just like, yeah, I'm going to destroy it. This is the best thing to do for the planet, rather than just like, oh, what if I gave it to the enemy for an exchange? Or, like, he's actually quite a smart protagonist.
He is, yeah. It's such a well-directed film, and well-written, for Noah and the humans. Like, the first thing that we see Noah, all the kind of visual clues that you need to kind of tell you who he is, what he likes, all that kind of stuff, like the Wu-Tang.
All the 90s references as well were pretty nice.
All the 90s references in there. The Wu-Tang poster, the dog tags that you see for like a quick second. And yet he behaves, you can tell that he was a soldier, and he knows what he's doing. I think a character with some military experience really gels well with Transformers, which is maybe why they try to push G.I. Joe with it so much.
Oh, that was awful.
Yeah. But it means I think it's an easy way to give the humans some kind of like capability in the face of 20-foot tall monster robots from another world.
Well, Lennox and his squad are originally meant to be G.I. Joe in the 2007 movie, weren't they?
I'll take your word for it. I don't know for sure if that was...
Oh, that was actually like a trivia fact that they did mention, like, they were planning to make Lennox and his team into like a G.I. Joe unit.
Man, they really want G.I. Joe to happen again, don't they?
Yeah.
Who's going to tell them that we're no longer in Reagan-era America?
Oh, by the way, before we move on from G.I. Joe, fun bit of trivia, Transformers actually originated from G.I. Joe. So G.I. Joe does not sell well outside of America for a good part, and so what they tried doing was marketing it to Japan, but Japan didn't want it, so they gave them all mech suits, and that eventually became Diaclone.
Really?
Yeah, true story. Yeah.
I gotta look that up. But yeah, like I was saying earlier, the whole thing with them constantly kind of drawing comparisons to Optimus and Noah, like Elena pointing out that she sees Optimus as a big brother looking out for his family. I mean, that's Noah. The military background, Noah's definitely seen soldiers like Prime in his time, or like commanders like Prime in his time. They did a really good job putting bringing those two characters kind of like alongside each other, and like drawing the comparisons and using that to bring them together, despite them kind of being at loggerheads at the start of the film.
Yeah, going back to the Age of Extinction comparison, like they try to have Optimus and Cade both be kind of like father figures to someone young who's a bit reckless. But that didn't work so well there, but it worked here with the two soldier comparison. Yeah,
there's that scene in Age of Extinction when they're flying to Hong Kong, and they have that kind of heart-to-heart moment, which doesn't work within the context of the film that we've seen so far. It just outs Cade as a hypocrite and an arsehole. But it's like that scene is kind of like stretched out throughout the length of Rise of the Beasts, between Noah and Optimus, to give us a really well-rounded character arc that kind of reflects well on both of them.
Which I think is just a testament that the storytelling was a lot better here.
Yes, for sure. It's a very simple plot, isn't it?
But we should probably talk about the Maximals and how they're kind of a bit out of place in some regards. Like, I accept them for what they are. Like, I think they work well with this kind of universe setup, but like they're so far removed from Beast Wars, it's insane. Yeah,
I think what Hasbro's trying to do right now with Beast Wars is make them coexistent with the modern day Transformers wherever they can. So
I think they're just worried if they did a line without Bumblebee, Optimus, and Megatron, it might not sell as well. Even though in the 90s it did actually revive the franchise.
Yeah, but I mean, for what the Maximals were in this film, I thought that Primal and Air Razor were real standout characters, really well voice acted. Cheetor and Rhinox,
they were there.
They were also there. I do wish that we'd had a bit more kind of explanation as to who they were and what they were to the Autobots, because the whole thing of warriors from your past and future, is never elaborated on.
Well, it's like in Beast Wars, what we're watching in Beast Wars, that's not been established once yet in what you've watched. And it's not really established until the end of season 2.
That is true. That is true. But also with that, it's a longer form kind of entertainment. Whereas this is this is a single story, and I think a lot of people would appreciate it, just a bit of clarity on like, oh, are the Maximals from the future? Have they time traveled with the transwarp key to get back here?
Why do they have their own planet? What happened to Earth or Cybertron, for example?
Is that planet Eucharis? There's one for the IDW fans, which you're not.
Or it might even be like Cybertron post Beast Machine.
Oh my god, the possibilities are endless. My goodness. I thought that Primal and Air Razor were not just obviously standout Maximals by virtue of talking the most.
I thought Air Razor was the strongest.
Yeah, I thought they were both really, really good. Air Razor definitely had a lot going for her.
But she didn't frickin' transform.
Not once! Not once did she turn into a robot. And that is the one thing that's preventing me from buying her toy. I would...
Because that's the thing, I was like thinking, okay, which toy do I go with? Do I go with the Studio Series, the mainline? And it's like, wait, it doesn't matter, she doesn't even transform.
But yeah, she had a lot of personality. The second time that I went to see the film, I genuinely started getting a bit upset when Primal had to put her down after she got infected by Unicron's dark energy. Because I was really endeared to her. I think it helps as well that Primal is a really great character, and they do amazing stuff with his like facial expressions and his animation there. You really see the pain of him having to kill one of his own kind, and also one of like the last of his kind as well. As far as we know, these are the last Maximals alive in the galaxy, in the universe.
Well, apparently, like, we only saw 4 of them get on that ship, but then apparently Air Razor was with some others that died, which... That felt a bit weird and shoehorned in.
I bet you... Yeah, I guess so. I bet you one of them was Rat Trap. I bet you one of them...
They wouldn't kill off Rat Trap off screen. They'll probably save him for another movie.
100% would kill off Rat Trap. There's a reason that they didn't put him in this film, and that's because robot toy rats don't sell. It's entirely down to how cool the animals are.
Rat Trap was really popular in the 90s, though. Like, Transmetal Rat Trap would fly off the shelves.
We're not in the 90s anymore, Matthew.
Yeah.
More's the pity, yeah.
Rat Trap and Cheetah were, like, hot sellers back in the day, though.
Yeah, those were the days. I genuinely can't imagine trying to take a giant mechanical rat seriously in this film, though. The more I think about it.
They had a giant robotic bird.
No, but giant robot birds are cool. Who's ever said, oh yes, a giant robot rat, that's a cool thing?
Yeah, but then also, like, giant robot rhino. Rhinos
are cool.
Right, but this one was kind of a bit boring looking.
Yeah, but rhinos in general are cool. They're big battering rams.
I've always been in this sort of mindset. I'd rather have a giant rat than a giant rhino.
We're getting sidetracked, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm very passionate about this for some reason, I don't know why.
Like, Rat Trap, in my opinion, is the best Transformers character.
That is an opinion.
That's probably a topic for someone else.
Yeah. We're not doing a podcast. Yeah, so I thought Primal was... I thought Ron Perlman did a really good job.
I thought he was decent, but I just feel like Gary Chalk would have done so much better.
I don't know. I think...
Like, there's no... Like, whenever, like, he showed up, I'm like, yeah, it's just... If it was Gary Chalk's Optimus Primal, that would just make it so much better.
I think if it was Gary Chalk's Optimus Primal, I don't think it would be right for this iteration of the character. I think that Gary Chalk's Optimus Primal and Ron Perlman's Optimus Primal are like Peter Cullen's Prime and David Kay's Optimus Prime. I think they're two very different iterations of the same character whose voices wouldn't work if they were switched around. I think, you know, like, Gary Chalk's Primal is, you know, a commander. He commands a team of Maximals, not necessarily, like, military focused, but he is, like...
But then again, you are already on Season 1, you've not seen it all the way through.
I've seen clips, I've seen bits and bobs. Yeah, I don't see Gary Chalk's Primal working as an ancient warrior sage kind of version.
I think that would work perfectly, to be honest. I guess it's opinion. I agree to disagree.
Yeah, your opinion's wrong, but I agree to disagree.
Nah, I'm pretty sure mine's right. Because, I'm a bigger Beast Wars fan, so
yeah.
Your opinion's invalid here because you've only just started watching it. You watched Kingdom before Beast Wars.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm going to let your fans know that you did that.
Let's talk about the villains as well, because they were incredibly good in it.
Oh yeah, when Scourge walked out that forest.
Mate, literally, I thought that the moment would kind of like dull for me, but seeing him like walking through the forest the second time, I got the same creeps. It's such an amazing introduction to a villain.
Well, I'm grateful he had so much dialogue because like otherwise he would just be such a generic villain.
He would for sure. But he's entertaining. He enjoys taunting his foes. And he puts Prime through the fucking ringer, man. Like, it takes him 3 attempts to best Scourge, and it's only when he's kind of like properly kind of like letting go.
And not once do you think this is Peter Dinklage.
No. Yeah, Scourge, just really intimidating throughout. And like great voice acting from Peter Dinklage. I think the only thing that I don't know, I'm conflicted on some of the deleted stuff for Scourge, because I think there's definitely stuff in the film that implies that he was chosen by Unicron to be a herald as kind of like a survivor of his own homeworld. I don't know, I think this film really benefited from Scourge being a out-and-out baddie. But I feel like there were so many elements of his character, personality, the mask as well.
What amazes me is, like, they cut so much good stuff out, but leave kind of so much filler in that, like, we could probably have cut this bit.
Yeah, and I think that there's definitely elements of the deleted scenes which should have stayed in, and some stuff which I'm very glad like got cut. That you can kind of see the remnants of, there used to be a bit more of a tragic backstory to Scourge in this film. I don't know how I feel about it being left in or taken out. So it's kind of in a little sort of like purgatory as to like, could he have been a better villain if they'd kept stuff in or if they'd taken stuff out.
It's a bit like Lord of the Rings, actually, with the extended cuts. Like, they should really do an extended cut for this, because it would make it a whole event.
I wouldn't mind seeing an extended cut. I don't know necessarily if it's like the whole transit scene, if that should be added back in, but bits like RC getting flustered when Prime mentions Wheeljack's going to be on the mission. And yeah, the stuff pertaining to Scourge's history with Unicron. Yeah, I think it'd be interesting to see an extended cut of this film, which is true.
Enough about the deleted scenes, anyway, because we want to talk about the actual thing we watched.
Oh, yeah, for sure. What did you think of Unicron?
I think the way he was handled was well. I think the voice was a bit underwhelming for me. Like, compared to Orson Welles in the 86 movie, like, obviously nothing's going to quite top that. But I feel like this actor for Unicron, like, he didn't quite deliver the same gravitas I was hoping he would.
I disagree. I think he did a sterling job. Is it Coleman Domingo, I think is the actor?
I was actually thinking David Kaye would have made a good Unicron. You know how he voiced it in Eternals as that?
Oh, Arishem. Oh, that would have been cool.
Like, that imposing voice as Unicron, that would have like been great. But...
yeah, but I think I think he did really well as Unicron. I thought he was intimidating, chilling sometimes. Like he had a really like great presence when he had these few scenes with Scourge.
I think the visuals of like whenever it cuts to that kind of when they go to meet him and you see like his eyes and everything, like that was quite nice.
I think that's great. It's a great way actually to make sure that you recognise him as a character, and that you can kind of see him emote as well. And the fact that it takes him quite a while to kind of like bring an expression into focus definitely says a lot for like the scale of the character. Okay. We have to talk about the opening scene where he consumes the Maximal Planet.
Oh, that was amazing.
You saw my fucking reaction when he passed the camera for the first time. It was like, oh shit, let's go.
Well, they like raised the stakes from the get-go, and they just really set up a film like, okay, I want to find out what happens now, which is how all films should open, really.
They did an amazing job with the design, and they really captured the scale as well.
And then when you get that first sort of trance scene where Scourge visits him, you get the 86 Unicron theme.
They integrated it really well. With like reused movie themes, a lot of the time I'm very skeptical about those being done. I think it is very easy for it to be cheap nostalgia bait. See Justice League. But you know, with the callbacks to the Unicron theme from '86. Arrival to Earth, No Sacrifice, No Victory. I thought all of those were really well integrated and all very much earned. I think I said in like a Discord chat a little while back that those themes, in particular the themes from the 2007 film, have become just as what's the one? They become kind of
thematic.
They've become just as thematic and significant as the Lion theme for the Transformers the movie, as the Touch, all of those like iconic themes from
the franchise.
Yes, and those themes came into existence 15 years ago, 16, 17, something like that, over a decade and a half.
16.
Yeah, they become just as iconic as those classic themes from the 80s. So I think they are very well deserved to be put into the film as a kind of like your sort of heroic, we did it guys, we are the champions moment, and for it to not feel like a shameless kind of like nostalgia grab.
Well, that's the thing I liked about the movie as well, where it wasn't just like, okay, Michael Bay's gone, let's completely axe whatever he did and just go full G1.
Yeah.
Instead, they kind of homaged it, realised, oh yeah, a lot of kids grew up on like the 2007 movie, let's keep some of those elements around, but also do our new thing as well. For
sure, yeah. Guys, such a good movie, isn't it, Matt? Such a good time.
Yeah, like, I think, after reflecting on it a bit more, like, I came out of it feeling pretty hyped, like, really enjoying it, but I still think it has its flaws, but overall it's, like, a really good film.
Yeah, it really is. Do you reckon... I mean, I've already been to see it a second time. Do you reckon that's on the cards for yourself?
I kind of want to wait for it to come out on, like, streaming services and watch it then, probably now.
Yeah, it's not going to be too long anyway. I think they said, like, mid-July is when it's coming out on digital release. Me, personally, I'm very glad that I went to see it a second time in cinemas, on the big screen, with the surround sound, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's just so much fun. Where does it rank for you in terms of, like, the other live-action films?
Well, I know you said live action, but I still think 86 movie is the best for me.
I mean, yeah, that's a given for you.
Yeah. But it's quite hard to like kind of place it because I kind of like aside from The Last Night, I like all of the live action movies for different reasons.
Mm.
And I think they all bring something good to the table. Even Revenge of the Fallen, because like the sort of era Revenge of the Fallen came out. Like I said earlier, the marketing for it is great. They're really trying to sell it to everyone on mud flapping skids with like M&Ms of them and everything. And like, look at these new characters, and everyone is hyped. And then they see them and like, oh
no.
This was but they really marketed them, and I kind of miss that marketing where you get all these merch for these different characters for films. But we didn't really get that for this one.
No, not that much.
But also, like, I think Revenge of the Fallen, we had some really great scenes, like the whole Shanghai chase, and 2007 had obviously like the arrival to Earth and everything.
For all its flaws, Revenge of the Fallen did have some improvements in terms of like the CGI and action sequences over the first film.
And then Sideswipe was just really cool as well.
But would you put Rise of the Beast kind of like
it's definitely near the top.
Definitely near the top. Yeah, I'd be the same. I think it's I'm gonna say I think it's my favorite Transformers film like ever. I think it surpasses Bumblebee and the '07 film, and I love both of those films. But Rise of the Beast is really fun, really well directed, tasteful There's no just like there's no lowbrow humor. I mean, there's one or two like there's one or two jokes which are like slightly lowbrow, but it's not like pissing on a man for like 7 seconds straight. It's never that bad.
Rise of the Beast probably is the best live action.
Any last thoughts on this film before we wrap it up?
I didn't like how Mirage turned into that whole pretender trans-tector suit thing. It felt a bit... Cause like, if you look at it, it just looks so ridiculous, like some sort of Mega Man cosplay. And then everything about Mirage's transformation in that film was just so up in the air. And it's like, if he can transform into anything, why doesn't he just transform into a transwarp key and solve everything?
This is exactly what I mean by, like, it's got flaws, but it's fun overall. Yeah.
But I think is also, like, the fact he kind of becomes a pretender, and with his design and everything, it just feels like the character was originally meant to be, like, Getaway or someone like that, like, from Master Force. But then they kind of changed it last minute because I think they needed the Mirage trademark. But also I think Mirage as a name is probably more marketable.
Yeah, Getaway. I don't know. Getaway could work, perhaps.
I think honestly, Getaway would be a perfect name for that character. But I'm happy with Mirage.
Yeah, he did. He earned the name. I think he's earned the name Mirage, and I like that they it wasn't just a name. It had relevance to his personality and character, and like with all the holograms and stuff that he could do.
Also, not once did I think he was Jazz.
No, it's very easy, friends. Ask anyone from fucking 2002 onwards about it, and it's like, oh yeah, legacy names don't fucking matter. We're just back at that stage. We're back at Energy.
I feel like legacy names should matter, and I think there should be some element of it, because I'd rather get a new character than just a named character just like used haphazardly and it's nothing to do with that character.
Yeah, I see it. I think that's fair.
Like if Mirage had a brand new name, then there'd be so much more hype.
I agree to an extent. I think that if you're gonna use a legacy name for a character that is like brand new, there needs to be some kind of like tie into it. For example, with Mirage, the hologram ability. That's all that you really need to be like, okay, I can accept this.
Well, Mirage's ability was invisibility in the original cartoon, and Hound was holograms. It's definitely a more name-fitting ability.
I blame Buddy Ansky.
But also, Mirage has so many powers, if you think about it. He's got those holograms, he can turn into anything he wants, he can become a pretender, he can never die.
There's some very blurred, yeah, he can never die. There's some very blurred lines as to, like, the logistics and logic of Transformers in this universe. Is like, can they turn into literally anything? Do they need to scan a vehicle to turn into it, or can they just do whatever? And a lot of that pertains to Mirage, obviously. I disagree. I thought the mech suit thing was really cool, and it was a great way to keep Noah involved with the action. We didn't. I wanted to talk a little bit about Elena. Actually, we've just got a little bit of time. We're coming up on like 50 minutes.
We'll probably trim it down.
Yeah, we'll trim it down. It'll be fine. But I want to get in a little bit about Elena before we kind of like wrap everything up. I liked her. I thought she was a good character. She was very useful. She was very endearing. I liked her kind of moments, and like her connection with AirRaiser. I liked that she kind of bonded with AirRaiser during the film. And yeah, her whole thing with like the archaeology backgrounds.
But then AirRaiser didn't become a pretender suit. That would have been cool, actually.
Oh, mate, no! Yes! Let's go.
They both got pretender suits, that'd have been interesting. They're not even called pretender suits.
Scarlet Scarab moment, let's go.
But honestly, though, like, I thought Elena was an okay character. I thought she was too much like a lot of the previous film characters from the Michael Bay era, where, like, she just instantly knew everything. She didn't have the greatest amount of depth compared to, like, after what we saw with Noah. Like, I think if Noah wasn't around, we'd probably think, okay, she's a better character. But I think because Noah was handled so well, in comparison, I felt like she was a bit bland.
I agree with some elements that, like, I think Noah got a lot more of the focus than Elena did. I still think that she was really good in the film. I think, like, is it Dominique Fishback, I think, is the actress' name? I think she did really, really well. And
Also, we should talk about Pablo as well.
Pablo, yeah, Pablo. He was in the film for 3 minutes and did nothing. Thank you for your service.
But he was really good in that little amount of time he had.
He was entertaining.
Because when I first saw that design, I was just thinking, no, this is not Wheeljack. No, go away. And then, like, actually seeing him, especially like the Hispanic accent, like, it just all works so well.
I really hope people shut the fuck up about his head. I really wish they do. It's just a head. They're not changing it back. Get over yourselves.
Remember Dark of the Moon Wheeljack? That was worse.
Yeah, and that's actually more accurate to G1 Wheeljack. I need to stop calling him Pablo. I need to give him respect. He is Wheeljack. I really want the Studio Series toy to be revealed very soon, because I will buy that in a heartbeat, and I really want the mainline figure to come out as well, because I will also buy that in a heartbeat.
It is actually out, but it's just a bit more expensive at the moment. Well, that's the problem as well, like, the toy line release. Like, there's so many of them not released. The films come out and there's no Mirage toys available just to pick up off the shelves.
God, yeah, I really wish I could just go to Smith's right now and buy the Mirage. I don't care how much it would cost me. I just want to buy Mirage, and I can't do that. Why do they not plan
It should be out this week or next weekend.
I think my Rise of the Beast collection is going to be a bit of an eclectic sort of bunch. It's not going to be entirely Studio Series or entirely mainline. It's going to be getting the most accurate versions of the characters represented on one shelf.
Most fun.
Or just the most fun, yeah.
Yeah, because I've been going between them, and I think, like, out of the Rise of the Beast line so far, Cheetor from the Studio Series and mainline Optimus Primal are the best two. Easily. I'm
waiting for the Leader Primal to pop up, but I have Cheetor. I bought him after we went to see the film, and he's really, really good. Yeah, he's a good fun toy. Bit of a janky cheetah mode.
I actually really like the cheetah mode.
It's not bad. It's definitely based on like the concept art, but I enjoy it. It's a really fun, very poseable, very cool robot action figure, and I look forward to completing the full set of bots there. I think we should definitely wrap it up at this point. I don't want you to be listening to us for like nearly an hour. But yeah, overall, we both had a really, really good time with this film.
And if you've not watched it and you've listened to all these spoilers, you can still watch it and have a good time.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, like I said, at this point, if you've not seen it, I'm staggered. Because you're really doing yourself an injustice by not watching this film. Just go there, no expectations, have a really good time with it. Enjoy the characters. The action is great fun. It's got some really funny moments too. It's just really well put together.
And if you have watched it, comment in the comments and let us know your thoughts, and if you agree or disagree with us.
Yes, let's drive up that user interaction. Let's play the algorithm. Yes.
Oh no, it'd just be interesting to see like if people do kind of align with how we feel about it, or if they like, these guys are completely talking crap.
I mean that totally uncynically. If you've seen the film, please let us know in the comments, because I'd love to hear like what your thoughts are on the film itself. If there's things that we've talked about here which you disagree with or also agree with.
Also, go make fun of Joe for watching Kingdom Before Beast Wars.
I have no pride. Thank you, Matt, for joining me. I'm glad that we finally managed to get this pinned down and sorted. This was good fun. I liked having this chat with you.
Yeah, hopefully this doesn't devolve into a podcast.
It absolutely will. I'm sorry.
But yeah, thanks for having me on, and it's great watching the film.
Yeah, it was really great fun. If you have not subscribed to Matt's channel already, you can find him at the 360verse.
Oh no, it's just 360verse.
Yeah, 360verse on YouTube, or and like all his socials are kind of on there as well. I'm gonna put a list of like your kind of most important socials on the screen, so people can jump on those and go check out your channel and all your bits and bobs.
Also, if you guys want to talk about it in calls with us, you're welcome to join Infinisun, which is our Discord server.
Yep, there's a link for Infinisun in the description. There's also a little thing probably on the screen as well. Come join us over on Infinisun. We talk all sorts of things. We have like semi-regular voice chats. We do. We've got channels for talking Transformers, Lego. We got Minecraft as well. We got all sorts on there. It's a really great little community.
Especially good for creative people who want to share their creative projects, talk about it with others, get advice, get tips, share advice.
Yeah, there's a lot of aspects of like creativity and like filmmaking where yeah, lots of people kind of contribute to help people out with various different aspects of production. It's a really great community. Do come join us. And yeah, hopefully we'll see you around. We'll be able to talk a bit more Transformers, but also not exclusively that. We like talking about things other than that. We like to diversify. But yeah, hopefully we will see you around. And yeah, bye-bye.
That's it.